here we are. This is S.x Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat. Bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more.
Yeah.
Okay, second question. Do don't ask, don't tell relationships work? That's a big question.
I don't have a blanket answer for this one. You've probably figured out by now, I don't have a blanket answer for anything. I think there are scenarios where don't ask, don't tell can be okay for a period. As a baseline in a relationship, I think it's one of the more challenging ways to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the nature of relationship is, and the nature of humans is, if you go deeper into anything with anyone outside of that relationship, it's going to be very hard for you to be your fully expressed, authentic self while figuring out how to hide people from other people.
Mm-hmm.
There does come a threshold where it's not just not telling someone what's going on in other parts of your life. It becomes actively having to manage, how do you keep things from them?
Yeah.
And that's not long-term a really supportive way of operating.
Yeah.
However, like, my caveat to that is that there can be periods in a relationship where things are really high stress, or one or both partners are somewhat under-resourced for doing whatever processing work they need around being with other people. Or, I think there are circumstances where don't ask, don't tell for a period can be fine. But then having some understanding of, like, okay, how are we going to come out of that? And how are we maybe going to then process whatever happened in that period?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and just as an example for some of the circumstances that I think it sometimes is actually supportive, is like, the partner that I live with is a traveling musician.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times where he's on tour for several weeks at a time. And it's not, well, this isn't exactly true anymore, but there were times where I wouldn't have the support that I needed
Mm-hmm.
to digest what he was doing with other people while he was away. And so it would kind of be like, okay, for the period that you're traveling and we're not really rooting into the stability and the foundation of our relationship, this is going to operate to some degree as don't ask, don't tell. And then we'll reground in our relationship, reconnect to us, get back into that secure attachment when you come back. And then I can ask the questions that I have about, like, what might be happening in your other relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So really honoring a transition period and like almost like a ritual to come back in together and bring our nervous systems in connection together.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to s.xlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on S.x Love Psychedelics.